This is the Think Podcast for entrepreneurs, business owners, and real estate professionals. Insight, real talk, systems that scale. Think about it. This podcast is brought to you by Real Property Management, the largest single-family rental residence management franchise in North America. We help you protect your investment, minimize your costs, and maximize your income. Visit realpropertymgt.com to learn more.
Well, welcome, guys, to another awesome episode of the Think Podcast. And today, I'm really excited about this one because a friend of mine is on, but also because you guys are going to get some inside intel from somebody that is very connected here in Central Florida, but also very successful as a businesswoman and a connector. And so on today's show, it is my absolute honor, somebody that I've known for many years, to introduce to you Miss Peggy Choudhry, who is the District 1 County Commissioner of Osceola County. And I've known Peggy for about a decade, and I can tell you from the very first time that I ever met her, she was an absolute fire plug, fire throttle of just beaming energy, right? With everybody that she comes into contact with, and has done so many things inside of Osceola County that makes Osceola County kind of really the special place that it is. And especially over there in District 1, in her district, which is a lot of business owners, a lot of families that have come into the area. You've got a lot of workforce that lives there that serves the people. And so it's a very special place. I lived there for 4 years myself in her district. And so I give kudos to Celebration there in some areas in that district. But today we're going to hear from her about really connecting in business and how important that is. And so Peggy, welcome to the show. Thank you so much.
Thank
Really
you.
excited to have you here because I could talk to Peggy all day long every day. But Peggy, tell our listeners a little bit about what you've got going on, a little bit about your history and stuff like that, and then we'll dive into the content.
Well, first, thank you, Scott, so much for having me. I love talking to you. I know we could go on and on with everything
Yes.
all the time, so I'm excited to be here with you and hoping that I could give you great value and information. So I'm Peggy Choudhry. I am a county commissioner here in District 1 for Osceola County. Very excited since 2016. I also am a business owner. I did hospitality business. I ran my small little boutique hotel on 192, which if you're familiar with the area, it's a very hot spot. It's the main avenue to go towards Disney and wonderful assets in District 1. So I have a hotel. I had the hotel business, and then I have done residential housing, a lot of real estate stuff, which I'm very excited about. I always talk about that as well. Of course, I love connecting. One of the best things I love to do is connecting folks with each other and also making sure to help when I can in any way, shape, or form, whether it's county business or private business. I always wear those hats all the time. I always try to see where I could help connect and get people help in any way and provide them value.
Well, and you do, because I just spoke at an event that Peggy runs in Orlando or Osceola County a couple, 3 weeks ago, and the place was packed, right? And so she's known as the great connector. We say that about her behind her back. I'm sure she's heard us say that before. But if you don't know Peggy, I'm telling you, and you live within 200 miles of Osceola County, you better get to know her, because if you're one of those people that has, and this is what we're going to drive right into this topic, because you brought something up kind of in the green room before the show about how important it is to really get to, if you're going to start a business, or because owning rental properties is a business too. You don't have to start up a Burger King, right? So if you're a small business owner, and Florida is just exploding with entrepreneurialism right now and new business startups, about how important that is to really get to know the people inside of your county, because as a business owner and you're new to an area, give some suggestions to people that are thinking about relocating, or if they're already in Osceola County, or it could be any county, it doesn't matter. But some best practices that you have seen for people that are like, you know what, I'm phasing out of this career, I'm starting this new business.
Right. And those are great questions. A lot of folks that come to Osceola County, because we are exploding. As everyone knows, Central Florida is the fastest growing area. Osceola County is. I'm proud to say my district is one of the fastest, because we actually grew in population the most in the past decade, which is why when we had to do the redistricting, I actually lost population because I grew the most in my area. So in my county. So I'm excited about that. I love seeing new folks coming. But of course, with that comes challenges. So one of the things I always tell folks that are coming to either open up a new business, whether it's a service business or even buy property as a landlord and become a landlord, is they need to look and see what are the requirements in every single county or municipality that they're going into. That's
Great
one
advice.
flaw that many people forget. They're just like, do I need a permit or a business license to even have one property as a landlord? The answer is
Great
yes,
point.
places. And people don't know that. And they find out kind of late. And when they do, sometimes that brings a hiccup between the business owner or the landlord with the county resources, right? And the hiccup comes because you're like, wait, I didn't know this. I didn't know I needed a permit. And the answer is always like, well, when you're going to open up a business, you need to understand what you're doing, right? That's always an
Right.
answer. Not that it's correct, but that's usually the answer. So I want to encourage everyone, and this is something I teach when I go out there, I tell folks is make sure that whatever type of business you're going to open, including buying one property as a landlord, be sure that in the state, city, municipalities that you're in, they're one allowing it with or without an actual business permit. Because that's one simple thing that you could make sure that you're taking care of that later on won't come bite you, right? That's one thing. It just something simple, but one stuff. And then the other thing is relationships you talked about, Scott. That is so critical. Understanding who your elected local officials, I would say, I know I'm a little biased, but I would say it's actually more important than understanding the federal level, right? You've got federal, you've got state, and then you've got locals. Well, the locals are the ones you run into in the grocery store.
That's
The
right.
local officials and leadership is the ones that you see at a ball game because your kids are playing as well. Understanding that fact is very critical. Why? We all know in business that relationships is key. If there's something that I don't know, if there's something that I need questions on, I'll call Scott. I'll call people that I've connected with. It's the same in county business or city business, right? Let's just say there is a business you purchased. A restaurant is a great example because restaurants always go through a lot, right? It is one of the most difficult businesses to own and operate. Well, when you have those difficulties, what happens when code enforcement comes? What happens when there's a complaint that makes no sense and you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. That should really be changed. I want to help change this as a business owner. How do you get involved? Who do you talk to? And that is all about knowing who represents you in your local area, understanding who they are, going to their events, go to the town halls, see what they're thinking. You don't know that the business you may be buying, whether it's land to build on, property, a multifamily, or whatever it is, or whether it's a restaurant you're purchasing, you don't know in the future land use if that's changing. The zoning may be changing and you don't even know it.
Mm-hmm.
It could
That's
be
true.
better or it could be worse.
That's
So you
right.
just invested from 50,000 or more, or even $30,000, whatever amount of money you invested. You need to know those things. This is why big developers, they always want those relationships. They want to understand what the future land uses are being changed on, who are in those positions that are going to make these changes. And it's all because they want to ensure that their profit is going to be there, obviously, for their businesses, but
Mm-hmm.
also for the future and making sure that they're not buying something that's actually going to be bad in the next decade, right?
Well, one of the great things about you, and I'll say this from personal experience, right? And this does not hold true, this does not hold true for, because Peggy's not really, I'll tell you this, she's my friend, and I'm going to talk about you, Peggy. You're not here right now, but
Okay.
she's not really a politician, right? You're not. And because I've seen you where most people think that you're unapproachable, not you personally, but that an elected official is going to be unapproachable, right? Oh, I can't talk to so-and-so, or I can't just walk up there. You're pretty extreme the other way. She will stand there, folks. I'm telling you, I've seen her do it. I've seen her do this, where she's there at an event and people are afraid to walk up and talk to her. And she'll walk out and go, hi, how are you? And she'll start conversations with people rather than just stand there and do this. She doesn't do that, right? And so you're very lucky there in District 1 because she wants to really genuinely help you. She has for 10 years, right? And I think understanding it as a business owner there, but successful people, to your point, and I don't want to make this sound cheesy, but they understand they might not have to be best friends with their elected officials, right? Because everybody's got different opinions of that and the other thing, but to have a relationship, right? All the years that I've known you, I've never seen you hold grudges or anything like that, but you will help everybody in your district. It doesn't matter. And you might not agree with them politically or whoever, but you're always there to make the environment a better place, right? And so for those of you that are thinking about development, especially because I'm going to tag on something that you said that is really important. You have a real understanding of development because I remember when we lived there so many years ago and the amount of growth we drove through there the other day. And I was like, whoa.
Right.
And everybody talked about, to your point, the stuff that's coming down. So those of you that are even thinking about building one house or buying two lots or land banking a deal, and this goes specifically to real estate. I'm going to talk about that for a second. You had better get to know and have a relationship with that elected official of that area because there are areas that I would have bet money on down there in Osceola that we're going to turn residential. And then we drove by and it was all brilliant, brand new commercial tail.
Right.
And I invested and put that in there thinking that we were going to put a mini tract of 7 houses just down in this little hamlet. It would have been a problem because one lot that I looked at now is where we met at that awesome new indoor pickleball facility.
Exactly.
We weren't going there, right? So I thought for sure, I'm like, oh, they need more housing, right? So you folks, you better get to know that. Now, Peggy, with business, right? Where do you see things going in your area in Central Florida for the new? Because right now, and we talked about this, there are tons of people that are making changes, right? Either because life happened, business is downsizing. Unfortunately, AI is eliminating a lot of jobs and stuff like that. So you find people that are 30, 40, 50 years old, not finding a second career, they're starting one,
Mhm.
right? And you've always been successful throughout your life, and your husband has too. And you guys have made very smart decisions that way, but you've done a lot of different things. So give the listeners advice because I had a friend of mine that knew you were going to be on today and wanted to ask a specific, because they respect your opinion that way, that you give the advice of what you would do to somebody because you own so many different businesses and starting a new business in an area.
No, thanks for that question. That's a great question because many people have to pivot. I think in life, I grew up in a generation where you go to school, get your degrees, get your career, and go from there.
And get you to work, right? Yep.
I'm really first generation and kind of getting out of that mentality. A lot of the times I tell people, even though when you get out of that mentality, you're like, no, I know opening up a business is what I want to do. I know struggles and challenges is okay. So my advice is always don't be afraid to pivot. Pivoting in life is natural and it is okay. You don't have to plan necessarily. You do want to have a forecast and say, hey, I think this is what's going to happen. But to your
Sure,
point, things
sure.
change around where you live. Things are changing around our environment. Obviously, in our country is changing. So it's just a matter of pivoting what's best for you and your family. And I think it's okay for people to be on the mindset of thinking, this is what I need to do now because I know it's working, or I know that if I pivot this way, it's going to work to my advantage at this time. Does it mean that in 5 years it might have to be the same? The answer is yes or no. So it's not being afraid. I think that's the biggest thing because when we grow up, we're all taught a certain way. And when you're older, you're now thinking, oh, do I have to continue that or do I have to make changes? I would say don't be afraid. Make changes if you need to. Pivot for you and your family in the best way format, especially since you already have amazing experience in one career. You've already done that. You're doing great. You could pivot and make that somehow implement it in the next thing if you wanted to increase your income, to increase what you want to do to help your businesses and so forth. So I think one advice is always don't be afraid. And the other is one thing that I was always afraid of is asking for help. And
Yeah,
that's the one thing that I
me too.
challenge myself. Right, Scott? Every single time is like when you're out there helping others, how do you ask for help? It's so funny, but I don't look at it as asking for help. I think what I do is I look at it as mentorship. Right. So I call Scott and I say, hey, I've got this business. This is where they're stuck. What do you think? Why? Because two heads are better than one.
That's
I mean,
right.
right. So not being afraid to admitting something that you may need a little bit of a path to help. And that's it. It's okay to do that. I think those are the types of challenges that sometimes
Right.
business owners feel that they have to do it alone and they don't. And this is one thing that I do as a commissioner as well. I implemented quarterly meetings for businesses to come and meet me, talk to me, and tell me your challenges. What is it that city, counties can do and offer when there are challenges? Great example was COVID. When COVID happened, so many of our businesses suffered. My business primarily in my district is tourism.
No.
Biggest one that suffered. So I was out there advocating, telling businesses, come get help. We've got available funds to help you sustain.
Yeah.
We've got but that was so uncommon that people are like, do I have to do this?
We were
Yeah.
the first, well, because we were living there at the time, right? So I was living in your district when that happened. And when you came out and did that, because people were so kind of, I don't know, like T-boned, right? They didn't realize that that was even an option. And you took the ball up and ran with it and goes, hey, listen, guys, we can help you. We can't take away all your problems, but maybe we can keep you afloat for a little while longer. And there's things to do on that because you also, I want to talk about something else too that I really respect about you. And I've seen this, folks, firsthand. I've seen it. I've been a part of it. I've watched her do it. This isn't me hearing about something or reading a placard with a bio on it or whatever. And that's the mentoring that you do for young adults and even adults. You're doing it now with the group that you have that's free to attend for new business owners and stuff like that. But really the special things that you do, because you and I share the same opinion that we think that the mentoring's a lost art form. It really is. Nobody mentors anybody anymore. And you have taken that staff and really planted down some definites that you do to help the kids. With what you've done with your daughter is absolutely, well, she's an amazing young woman anyway.
Yeah.
But the first time I saw this kid, she was this big and running around the tables. You know, was she like, I don't know, fifth grade or something like that, but has grown into now this amazing woman who is, and on her way to being even more successful and incredibly successful as a business owner now at her age. And I think that let's talk about your philosophy for how important it is for people to get back to basics in their own community and mentor.
Yes. I believe some people don't realize, but when you're mentoring others, you actually learn more.
It's true. I learn stuff
You
every day.
learn
I
so
do.
much
That's right.
more. You learn more about your own business and you learn more just about the value of how discussion is, right?
Mhm.
When
Yeah.
you're anyone that comes, so I do mentorship on both sides. On my private side with my business, I also do it with the commission. And on the commission, when I was elected, one of the very first things I put in place was a monthly meeting with students. A
You did.
committee for Osceola County. Fifth graders and up are able to join. And what do?
So cool.
Every month they help me plan events for a community that they want to see. And one of their signature events of the year every year, which takes place in November normally, is the anti-bullying event, Chalk Away Hate. It was a creation from the students. What did that teach me? That taught me so much about when we're building our young generation, what are they thinking on the changes they want to see in their future? We talk about the budget. They know the budget of the county. They tell me about their suggestions on how they think AI, whether it's positive, negative, and what are the goods and the bads of it. It is their generation, right? Those
That's
are the
right.
things that are happening in their generation. So I believe that mentorship is a broad spectrum of things that helps the person that's actually mentoring. It's a benefit for them. And so sometimes I know we all have limited time on this earth. I get it. Time is limit. And one of the things that I want to do on time is giving back. And in giving back is the way that I do it is mentorship primarily and is helping and assisting where I can. Because I think that that is going to leave more of a legacy than anything else I can build. I always think to myself, if I can help that one person, that one business owner get out of a challenge, if I could help that one student understand that they don't have to follow a path that they're not happy with, that they can too build success. They can be the first generation billionaire, multimillionaire. They can do that. Or they could be the first generation politician, right? Like being there myself and being the first member of my family as a politician, the first member of my family to break away from the traditions of schooling and careers, and then forming a business, going through struggles. And so I think that in mentorship is what it helped. Now, if I would have had the ability myself of asking for more help, right? At the time, younger, I think I would have gotten further, which is another reason why I say is don't be afraid, anyone, to ask for mentorship, ask for time,
Yeah.
including from people that they may think, oh, they're never going to give it. Who cares? The worst that can happen is you ask and they say no. Like that's literally the worst that can happen.
Well, for sure. And no, we were at the event the other night. You did phenomenal. And she brought all these people together. And I want you to talk about that because I'm going to wrap up today's show with that. Sometimes people don't know until they're told, right? So I want to invite everybody that's in the area to go to your event because I had a great time. Went for a while, and then you and I both spoke at that event, and then you and I stayed there and talked to everybody in that room for, it was almost, what, 2 hours, right?
Yes.
And the connections that came through on that and the people that were connecting with one another. Folks, if you're in Central Florida, and you don't even have to be in Central Florida, you could be around Central Florida, because I drove over from Bradenton, right?
Yes.
It's such a great event, and it's free to attend. And what you're doing to spur on people's, not only their education of what they're getting into, but you've created this entire ecosystem. And I'll say that because it's true. And I was there, and I went, and I witnessed it. I will fully endorse it. It's just a special thing. And it's so open to everybody. So half the room is full of people that need the education. The other people are looking for connections and mentorship, because you're the great connector. I think that's going to be your legacy long after we're not here anymore, is about what you've done to really strengthen the community, both business and personally, with the
Mhm.
people that you've helped. Talk about your event, the guys behind that, how people can attend, and how they can really get more out of that.
Yes, thank you for that. So for years, just to give backstory, for years I've always attended so many types of different groups, whether it's real estate, whether it's learning about business and stuff. It was truly to educate myself and learning about these different areas and components. And so when I had an opportunity to say I being part of other groups like Aspire and other groups, I said it's a great opportunity to bring together people like-minded that may
Yep,
have the same challenges I had that I can help with, and others help each other. Again, finding help, not being afraid of that, having an open dialogue in that, and not worrying about have to pay for it, right? Because you could join many different things, but
that's right.
fees and associations. So I really loved putting together this, and we've been doing it now for a while. And of course,
It's
Aspire
great.
has opened the door to do meetups. And so that for me, I was like, wow, that's amazing. And again, that's wearing my business hat, right? That's saying, how is it that I can help as a business owner, help other businesses strive and be better than me, achieve more than me? So this is one of those avenues. So not only do people from Central Florida come to it, it's called a meetup. We do it pretty much every month. Sometimes we skip a month, but we love face to face because it's always better, right? So
It
face to
is,
face is
because
best.
you
And
you
so
have that
we
real
do those
connection, right?
real connection, real talk. So we do it in person and we do it every single month. The people come, each person will pay for their food or something simple like that. But the great thing is just the time. Take 2 or 3 hours out of your time and come meet people once a month or once every other month when you can. And then you meet other folks that perhaps not only could help in the challenges that you are having in business, but also maybe partner. We've already seen some people do that in our group, which I thought was amazing. By partnering, they're able to scale their businesses a lot more and faster at a faster pace that they weren't expecting. So for me, that's wonderful. Of course, the best way is always to reach me out on social media at Peggy Choudhry, but also at my email address, which is simple, peggychoudhry at gmail. I think the biggest thing is always just like connecting. People is the most important. I also have a website, peggychoudhry.com, and it shows my three different hats, right? As an investor myself, as a commissioner, and as a business owner. So I think that's important. One of the other things I'm working on for future is in the future, I want a lot more people to have options of knowing that even though they're in business, they could also run for office. Sort of like what I did, telling people I want to see the next level of politicians that are more rounded on everything with experience of business, but also experience in life, right? And experience in the things that they're doing that's important to them so that they can lead cities and counties. Because again, I go back to the importance of your local politicians, and your local government is the one making a lot of decisions that your business can suffer from.
It's
Because
everything. You
yeah,
taught me that. You really
yeah,
did. You opened my eyes to that. That you're like, look, man, it's all right here, because this is it's our backyard. This is the stuff that really affects us. Didn't mean to
exactly.
cut
So it
you
all
off, but you
connects.
taught me that. That's right.
Exactly. It all connects. So going to a lot of the different types of meetings locally, whether or not government's involved is important, just like the meetup and things like that. Or if government is involved and you're able to go and see what is the government doing, it's a town hall or it's a public meeting of some sort that's affecting your area, go to it, learn about it. Meet people there. Those are the things that are going to make a difference, I think, not just in life for value for yourself to learn and mentor, but also for your businesses to grow. It's going to be a lot more knowledge.
Well, and you always preach too about contrary action, right? Because I've heard you say it a ton of times. I know, thank you for coming tonight. And you're like, I know a lot of you are probably at home and you didn't want to do it. And then you go to an event, right? And then you're like, and I didn't. I was on the couch. I was like, you have endless energy. I don't know how you do it. So I'll take 3 of whatever you're taking. But you always preach that too, is just put one foot in front of the other and let the magic happen. It's great. I can't tell you how thrilled I am at your success. I'm not surprised by it. Not at all. But how happy I am for my friend to be doing so well. But again, just before we dismount, tell them how to get a hold of you again. We'll put the information too on the broadcast stuff and all the clips. But for anybody that wants to look, all you got to do is Google her. She's everywhere. But for them to be able to get a hold of you, Peggy, how do they get a hold of you?
Definitely go to peggychoudhry.com. You've got my contact information there. You see the 3 hats that I wear. It's a basic website. Did it myself. No big deal. But
It's a good website. I like it. It's good.
But it's great to go there. And here is a great example, Scott. I want people to know this. At the end of the day, relationships matter. You and I have known each other for a decade, right? And we've gone through so much. You've seen me grow here in the county. Most importantly, as residents, both of us have seen us grow in different ways, including our local area. And at the end of the day, look, we're here today. This alone proves that relationships open doors. Relationships matter. That's one of the things I think I've always preached to myself is more like, don't ever close a door. It doesn't matter what a person looks like. It doesn't matter where a person comes from. It doesn't. What's great about local government is party lines don't really matter. Why? No. Because you're really focused on fixing things that are local that are not related to federal law things, right? It's more ordinances and things for businesses and things for residents, really caring about that stuff, right? One of the things I always tell people is call me if you have a pothole. That's one thing I know I can fix, right?
Right. And you do it.
Local,
I know.
A simple local thing. But of course, I think one of the things that is important is relationships. And our relationship grew and blossomed so much. And look at us today, decade later, talking on your famous podcast. It's so great. And what you've been able to accomplish and what you've been able to do for people and helping and the knowledge that you're creating, you are a mentor already. You are a mentor out there all the time. You came out to the meeting. People loved you. Your knowledge was great, was amazing. And I think that's the value. That's what we're leaving as a legacy. So I think it's great. And this is a great example of why relationships do matter and going out, opening the doors matter. And this relationship wouldn't have happened otherwise. So again, I want to thank you for all your efforts and everything you do, Scott. Thank you.
Well, thank you. You're gonna make me blush here. So I do say thank you. But folks, if you are in the area, I implore you to, if you want to help yourself, because you've got to do the work essentially for yourself. Peggy's got a thing there in Osceola County, right in Kissimmee, that is a phenomenal thing for you as just an entrance way to get in there and get connected and plugged in. There were people that came that drove hours and hours and hours to go to her event. But if you're within the sound of my voice and you're here in Southwest Florida, Central Florida, even there's people that came over from Jacksonville.
Yes.
You need to go and check it out because it's only going to benefit you. I can tell you from personal experience because I went myself and I'm going to go again, that it's phenomenal. And if you're in the Central Florida area and you need some help, and obviously potholes is one thing, but if you really need to, you know what I mean? I mean, she's dealing with enough potholes right now, but if you need help and mentorship on a business or advice or how to get connected, or if you're thinking about doing a thing there, reach out to her. It doesn't cost you anything. She really, truly is there to help you. And I just celebrate that because you don't get a lot of quality free stuff anymore. You don't get it anywhere. And That's so true. Thank you, Peggy.
Thank you.
I'm so stoked for you. I can't say enough good things about this woman. I absolutely love her. And so if you have any questions and you can't get a hold of her, which would surprise me, reach out to me and I'll get a hold of her and we'll hook you guys up. So we thank you guys for coming on today. And until next time, all we ask you to do is think about it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.